in school, so can't complain.
That's good. That's good. Right, so I've gone live. Hi guys, welcome to Football Obsession. We're going to do another Premier League game week review today, and with Gavin, and it's Shannon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you both?
Good.
Really good, really good. Had a really good
Good.
day. You've had an all right day in school. Happy to be home, obviously.
Good. Who's your favourite player, Shannon?
Marcus Rashford.
He'll love you for that.
Same. Same.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. I probably shouldn't tell you at the moment because I've heard that he's your dream player, but there's a possibility I may be able to get a shirt signed by him. I'll try and get one for you. It's going to be very, very difficult, but there's a small possibility. It's not looking likely at the moment, but I'll try.
Okay.
And I'll let your dad know if I can get one. Because he's been telling me that, and I've seen on his social media that you love Rashford, so I'll try. So it's exciting times ahead for United, isn't it? Sorry for interrupting there.
Always been this big a fan of his, and ever since he's been playing for the team, so most of her life, number one.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I would say my favourite two players are Rashford and Ronaldo, but Rashford will always come first for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Ronaldo
on the back. I've got Ronaldo on the back of my shirt too.
Well, he only comes back to the club once, so you got to make the most of it.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. We're all loving it, even though it's not been a great season. We're all loving the fact that Ronaldo's back.
You're right.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
That's if he doesn't get benched again.
Oh, I know. Yeah, hopefully on Thursday he's not benched. We'll get into the. Well, I just want to say to the guys that's in the chat with Gavin. I've been speaking to him a lot, so I do know him quite well, and I would have to say, not including famous people, you're one of my dream guests to have on this podcast because of how much how much I've been speaking to you and how much I know. Do you know what I mean? And how you like me.
It's something that I've been wanting to do for weeks, and from one reason or another, life just gets in the way sometimes. I mean, I had the bloody chest infection, dramas at home, so I saw that I had a free Tuesday, and I was like, get me on. Make the most of it.
Yeah. Of course. So are you going to be, do you watch all games with your dad, Shannon?
No. But I do watch most.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. My little cousin, I think she's a similar age to you. I'm not sure her exact age. Her name's Lily. She watches all the, well, not all the games, some of the games, although her dad is a City fan, who is my uncle. So I understand, I see, little girls supporting United and stuff like that. And when I'm going to the games myself and stuff like that. So it must be great. Although not as good as it was for me, like growing up seeing United win trophies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was obviously the Europa League was the last one. She was a little bit younger then, so she wasn't as fully into it as she is now. But she's more into it now that she's actually playing for a school team. So, and of course, striker, gotta be the striker.
Yeah. Do you love playing? Yeah.
Yeah.
I never used to like playing football. That's a funny story about me.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. I've always just been like, rather watch it. I don't know. There's something like probably now when I've got like a lot of energy, I could probably play, but I've never really been into playing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It sounds really daft to say, considering I'm like a massive football fan, but that's just me personally.
For me, I wasn't very good with the ball when I was running with the ball. I just couldn't get the ball to go where I wanted it to, but I could bloody well kick it quite far. So, But I was a bit older working. I then was a little bit better. I was part of like a 5 and a 6-a-side team, and I was enjoying it a bit more then. So now it's nice just to sit back and watch it, just enjoy it.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, it's obviously amazing to see what the actual athletes can do nowadays in terms of the top level athletes. They've got so much facilities, they've got so much available to them that it's like incredible to see what they could do nowadays. You were breaking up a bit there, the camera, just to let you know.
You gonna go and do what you want to do? Are you happy now? Or
Yeah.
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 Go on then. Right. She's gonna
Hope
sign
you
off.
enjoyed it on the camera. Right, we'll get into the results. So it's obviously exciting times ahead, hence why I'm sorry if my green screen's still pixelated, but I've got the United, I've got obviously Old Trafford.
It's all right, mate. Looks like you figured it out a bit. It's nowhere near as bad as it was the other day.
No, yeah, of course. I've just been on a live chat with the people who run the software to try and get it sorted a little bit. I've turned my room light on, and that's helped a little bit. It's just a bit of playing about with it, and I'll get it sorted. First of all, I just want to say, Robbie has said, a few people have got in the chat, but Robbie said, hello, how are you? I appreciate you coming in on your birthday, Robbie. I know it's your birthday, so happy birthday. Let me just move that down a little bit.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's having a good day. We'll get into the results though, and just to let you guys know, I did say the schedule was going to be a bit messed up. I may try and do a Q&A tomorrow. There's also going to be a podcast on Friday, as the game week is going to be during the week as well. So just stay tuned. But we'll get into it now. We'll get into Arsenal 2, Newcastle 0. It was just a normal routine win, that wasn't it? It was they were back on form again.
I mean, the way I look at it, it's Newcastle have got some players which I think are good enough to stay in the Premier League. You look at the likes of Alan St. Maximin, and even John Joe Shelby to a certain extent. If he went to some of the bottom half of the table teams, he'd probably be fire in the midfield. But I just think they lack enough quality, and it's how far they are off the sort of relegation zone when it comes to January, because you can have as many as you want if you buy the players, but you're already 15-20 points off of whatever, and it's easily done. I mean, they're the only team, I don't know whether it's in the Football League or whether it's just in the Premier League, but they're the only team not to win this season.
Yeah, it's in the Football League. It's out of the 92 teams. There's also another stat that we, as United, are the only team out of the 92 teams to not score from a set piece this season, which is obviously not great. But Newcastle, again, like you say, with Eddie Howe just taking charge, it's going to be about trying to get them there or thereabouts until January, and then see if they can possibly make some signings to sort of try and salvage any bit of the season that they've got left. It's obviously going to be very difficult, and the squad, if you're looking at it, isn't good enough to stay up. However, like you say, there's a few players where you're saying they're good enough to be in a team that stays up. Like you say, Alan Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson, even Willock. There's Jacob Murphy. I actually like Jacob Murphy as well.
That was a quality signing. I think he was brilliant for Arsenal, and when he first came to Newcastle, the bounce that he had when he was coming into the team, even when he was coming off the subs bench, he was making an impact. Struggled a bit this season, but I think what's gone on outside of football with regards to the selling of Steve Bruce and all of that, I think had a knock-on effect with people on the pitch with regards to the performances and results. You expect a bit of manager bounce by having Eddie Howe come in for that first game. So I was a bit surprised that they didn't do a bit more. But yeah, they haven't got enough.
Yeah, they look sort of defeated in a way. They look like they've sort of resigned themselves and accepted the fact that they're probably going to get relegated. Now, I know people say you've got to be realistic, but you've got to fight until the very end. For example, Leicester, was it 5 or 6 years ago now, just the season before they won the league, they just about managed to stay up. Aston Villa managed to stay up via goal difference or something like that last season, the season before last. So you've got to fight.
West Ham did it. I mean, they were literally all relegated, and then they come back and they're literally flying. And a few teams have done it. Villa did it as well, you know. So it is possible, but they need to do it sooner rather than later. They need to start getting their belt, or else come January, the gap between the sort of relegation and the rest of the teams, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to touch on a player for Arsenal who. Sorry, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I was just thinking Arsenal. I like what Arsenal is doing. I do. But I'm more liking the youth side of things than I am the senior side of things. Like, I mean, you look at the Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli, all of these players of amazing quality, and then you've got Aubameyang. Lacazette is not really what they want at the moment. They're not firing on all cylinders, as they were a few seasons ago, if you know what I mean. Then you've got that miss.
Someone's just mentioned that miss. How do you miss that? Like, I just don't understand how you miss that. It's something similar to what I've seen Martial do, or Rashford used to do it to a certain extent before he improved his finishing, and I just don't understand how you miss. I understand they were already. Yeah. I like it's. I think you might have muted yourself.
Nope.
Can you speak?
Yeah, it's not muted.
Sorry, guys. All right. Sorry. The connection's just a bit messed up. It's showing on my side. It's a bit messed up as well.
No,
obviously.
You'd expect a person of Aubameyang's caliber to put those sort of shots away. I mean, anybody can miss. Anybody can have one of those. There was one in the Brighton match, for instance. So they are going to happen. But ever since he got that contract, he hasn't really been the player that he was before the contract. Yeah, so this isn't a one-off.
No, I agree. I was going to touch on him as well. That he's on like £350,000 per week. I don't think he warrants that amount of money. I don't know if any player in the league currently warrants that amount of money. Who is that consistent that warrants that amount of money? Maybe N'Golo Kante, and he doesn't even play every week.
You sort of go through the team and you usually pick out your star players, like somebody from the defense, somebody from the goal, somebody from midfield, and somebody from your striker. And usually you pick your top earner out of those. For us, it's David De Gea. Then it was Ronaldo. You know, you can sort of expect them to be on the big bucks after what De Gea was doing back then when he got that contract, and Ronaldo being Ronaldo. But when you sort of then go down and you see the likes of Paul Pogba wanting those sort of numbers where there's inconsistency, that's where you start questioning these big contracts. But I suppose we've got the likes of Neymar to thank for that, because he inflated the market with his moves. And now it's filtering down with regards to wage structure to other teams. It's crippled Barcelona because of their wage bill. It's gotten to the point with them where they're literally having to give away Messi, give him away, but you know what I mean? Messi having to leave.
They're trying to scrape together 10 million, aren't they, for City's Ferran Torres? And for one of the top clubs in the world to trying to scrape together 10 million. It shouldn't happen. I understand there's many variants to it. That there is that the market being inflated, and then there's COVID happening where there's no fans in the stadium, and then obviously Messi's left them, which has also had a knock-on effect. There's obviously many knock-on effects to different clubs. and obviously most clubs have had a turnover of loss, if that makes sense, over the past year or two. It's been like a sort of a very strange time, and it seems like we could be about to walk back into that exact same time. I will ask you about that now. Not to try and get too political, as you know, I get very passionate about politics and stuff like that. But do you think we're going to end up having restrictions on fans in the grounds, like where there's no fans at all, or do you think there's going to be restrictions where there's a certain amount of fans, or do you think nothing at all will happen?
It's difficult because I can sort of understand the mask mandate, just for precaution's sake. You're in the shop for the max. Some people maybe an hour, some people in and
Yeah.
out. It's not really that bad to put a mask on, go in, do what you want to do, and come out. I get that. I mean, you see the surgeons, they work in it every day, all day. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But from what I've sort of read and seen on the news and things like that, although this might be a more infectious strain to the point where it will spread more, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem to be as
Dangerous,
fatal, shall we say,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
previous variants. So yes, you might get it, but the symptoms aren't as severe. Now, obviously, you've got the people in the country who are at risk. My mum's got COPD, asthma. My aunt has got emphysema. So you have got the fraction of people who are at risk who might be in danger.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're at that point where we have severe restrictions like lockdowns and things like that yet. I think 14 cases, try and control it, see if we can keep the numbers down. A lot of people, again, their vaccines, the boosters are also now available. So, just do what you can, and hopefully then we won't have to have the same things that we had like through the first lockdown and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. It's obviously the lockdowns are obviously a massive strain on different people for different reasons, and it's a strain on the NHS and etc. And but it's also a strain on football as well, because obviously, like we're saying, football clubs are losing money, and definitely, obviously, life is more important than football in the sense of if lives need to be protected, we have to do that rather than have fans going to the football matches. But I think it would be it would be it would be uncharted territory again to stop a season in the middle of a season again, and then sort of how would they work it with the TV? Do you know what I mean? They had it all crammed in last season where everything was on TV, and although I enjoyed that, it would be very difficult to rearrange things. So I think that the Premier League are going to speak to the government. Sorry, what did you say?
You're getting value for money on Sky and BT. You're having all the matches on TV.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to just address a comment here. Sorry, Flaxton's glad to have you on. Sorry to interrupt you there. I do interrupt a lot.
No, we were talking about the Europe matches next week. Europa League, Champions League. There's confusion as to whether there's going to be teams allowed to come in, whether we're allowed to go out. I mean, our club, there's a possibility we might have to go to a neutral ground. So it's already starting to have an effect, or possibly have an effect. Let's just hope that it isn't to an extreme. So.
I think I have spoke to people on the group about this. I'm not sure on the group that we're in. I'm not sure whether you've seen this. Dani Alves is playing for Barcelona for €1 per week. And if Messi really wanted to stay, he could have done the same. Dani Alves has actually confirmed this, I think, twice now himself. Sorry, go on.
I don't know. I mean, seen all this stuff come out about Italian football and possibly the French Football League as well. So I don't know. That seems a bit.
Yeah, it does seem a bit strange, but the fact that Dani Alves has said it, I can only take his word for it personally.
No, it's just conspiracy tinfoil hat. No.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But we'll actually get on to more results now. We do go off track a lot when we talk, don't we? It's obviously it's part of normal conversation. But we'll go to Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 2. Let me just click on this game. We've got it on the Premier League app here. So, although Crystal Palace are building something. Sorry, what did you say?
Viva Gerrard.
Yeah. Oh no, I keep saying what did you say? Because the sound keeps breaking up. I do apologise. It doesn't. I'm not trying to sound rude or anything like that. Although Aston Villa although Crystal Palace are building something, Aston Villa are building something, and it's sad to say for us United fans because of who's in charge there. I personally hope they lose every single game, but they're building something. And
I mean, look, with Crystal Palace, I like what Vieira's doing with them. I think they've got some quality players. Dennis, is it Enna Dennis?
Is that Aston Villa?
No, what's it?
For Palace, Zaha and Elise, is it?
Through the middle, is it? Who was that? Sorry.
Is it Elise? Is it Elise? And then Eze as well?
Yeah, I haven't seen. Is he still? Because I know he was out.
I think he's injured.
Yeah.
I think he might be injured.
They are definitely building something. So I was surprised that they didn't get more out of the game. But Villa is that new manager bounce, isn't it? And they seem to be getting that. John McGinn with his left foot. Really good player. I like what he's doing. Obviously, they have got some quality players as well.
Would you take John McGinn at Man United?
It's something that I have thought about in the past, but I don't know whether it's too big a step. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, in our team at the moment, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I do like him. I do think he's got quality. I do think he's got a wonderful left foot. Whether he'd fit the system of Ralph Rangnick, I'm not so sure, but he's very good at pressing. He's very good, tenacious. He's very similar to Fred in the sense of the way he gets from the pitch, sticks a tackle in.
Yeah.
So he has got qualities which you could sort of say, yeah, I could see that he would make an impression. It's just whether, I don't know, it's that divide, and it's whether a club like us would go for somebody like that. The sensible would be to go for somebody like that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. But although Aston Villa won this game and they're now 2 for 2 under Gerrard, it seems like Patrick Vieira, it really is building something here. Maybe in previous years under Roy Hodgson, maybe this game would have been 0-0, but maybe they also would have lost 2-0 instead of getting a goal. You don't know. But with Patrick Vieira, there's something more exciting there. With Roy Hodgson, there's stability and you know exactly what you're going to get. However, with Vieira, there is something where he's building. He does seem to be building something, and I'm not going to say they're going to be world beaters. Obviously, they're not, but they're going to be in an exciting time in the sense of maybe we can push for top half of the table eventually. Do you know what I mean? That's sort of a good season for Crystal Palace. And have you been liking what you've seen from Patrick Vieira so far at Palace?
Yeah, I felt it stagnated a bit with Roy. It become the Zaha show, and basically the way that they were playing, it was hit on the break, down the wings, either come in and shoot or cross into the box for Benteke to head over. But under Vieira, there's more. The build-up play is better. The attacking threat better. They're more clinical in the way that they are performing, and he seems to be getting the tune out of all of the players, not just a select few.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing some debate in the chat about McTominay and McGinn. I appreciate his debating. I'm just going to give my personal opinion on McTominay. As I feel that personally he's underrated. I know a lot of people don't rate him. I do feel that personally he's underrated. However, he has got to improve in certain aspects, obviously, as have everyone in our team except Ronaldo and De Gea, really. But
I think he's underrated. I do think he's underrated as a box. I just I don't think him CDM.
No, he's definitely not CDM.
You sort of look at the type of player Fred is and the type of player that Scott is, and you sort of want one player that does both. So you've got the press and the tenacity of Fred with the build and the going forward. Okay, he doesn't tend to pass forward very often, but when he is going forward, he can thread a ball through, cutting through the midfield. He did it a couple of times in the Chelsea match. I just think that his shortcomings are costing us the midfield battle.
Of course. Yeah.
That's the engine room. You need somebody in there who knows what they're doing, that it's their, like a Basuma, a Kante, they know what their job is, they know what their role is, and you can just leave them to it. And if Matic was a few years younger, he'd be the answer, because when he has played that role, whether it be with Donny at the beginning of the season in that pre-season with Everton, or whether it was last season,
Herrera one,
Project Restart, he played that role with Pogba, and they were brilliant, So until January, I think we're probably going to have to persist with either Scott or. Personally, I would play Matic and Donny when possible, and when Matic needs a rest, possibly play Fred and Donny, because I don't think we've seen that dynamic as much. But
no, I agree.
I think he needs to be playing further forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. From it like if I got my uncle in this room now, it's not possible because he's working. But if I got him in this room now and I said to him, "What's your thoughts on McTominay?" He'd say he's not a CDM, and he said from day one, from like pretty much the first ever game of McTominay's debut, he's not a CDM. He wants to go forward more, and I remember when we lost 1-0 against Newcastle and he played in that CDM position and it just didn't work at all. I think that was the first game we seen McTominay in the CDM position and it didn't work. I'm not sure if you've seen the clip of Ben Foster. There was a clip of Ben Foster. I think Mark Goldbridge went on Ben Foster's podcast and they were discussing McTominay, and Mark Goldbridge was sort of saying he doesn't really rate McTominay, and Ben Foster sort of was debating with him. He marshalled that midfield against Watford, and he really played. He played a blinder sort of thing, and he seems to be what Ben Foster described as a baller, which obviously means an amazing player. So for me, it seems strange that a lot of people in the football world, Sir Alex Ferguson, Mourinho, even Van Gaal spoke highly of him. Ollie liked him, and I know we're not sort of classing Ollie in. Pardon?
With him. Every manager that's worked with United basically had him in their midfield. I mean, for me, it's funny because in Scotland he's a centre back. When he first started, he was more of a striker. I mean, you've seen on probably the clips of him scoring.
Yeah.
So this is why I sort of think more box to box, because he can get back and defend, but can also get forward and be influential in either shooting or passing to get goals. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Time will tell.
yeah, exactly. We'll move on to Liverpool 4, Southampton 0. And I thought this was going to be another 9-0 when I saw it. It was like 3-0 within 32 minutes, was it? 37 minutes. And I thought that they're going to lose 9-0 again. Obviously they didn't, but that's just a routine win for Liverpool. Like it seems that Thiago seems to be back at his best, and they seem to be getting the best out of him again.
2-2.
Yeah, and there was a lot of debate whether the goal in the first game, whether there was a bounce on it. I've seen a slow motion. I don't think there was a bounce on it, but I'll say there was a bounce on it just to be biased. But with Southampton, do you think that they are relegation candidates?
I don't
Let me
know.
check where they are.
They're another team where I actually do like the manager. I like Ralph
So do I.
Hasenhüttl. Never can pronounce it right. I do like him as a manager. I think he has got qualities. I just think they're in a rut. It sort of started last season and it's followed on into this season. They have games where you think, oh, they're back. And then the next week they'll be like, yeah, we're not. I just don't know what to expect from them each week. And they, again, a lot like Villa and Palace, they've got good players. They've got, Ward Prowse, Che Adams, Armstrong's a good player. He looks quality. So they have got the potential there to sort of stay up in the league. I think that other teams around them maybe I don't know with Watford. I feel like Watford are going to turn a corner. I do. It hasn't happened properly yet, but I do feel they'll turn a corner. So it's hard to call who will go down. Norwich obviously will. I think
I'm not sure that they will.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's a possibility that they might not, and this sounds really like football hipster sort of thing, but they're picking up some points. They're level on points with Burnley, who are 18th, and 3 points behind Leeds, who are 17th. Now it is a very strange sort of dynamic to say that Norwich will stay up. Are you all right?
Yeah, I mean, could. I mean, mathematically, it's possible. And it is, of course, it is. I mean, we're not even halfway through the season yet. It's just if Pookie could finish his dinner, then maybe maybe they could start getting some points under their belt. I'm surprised that what's his name went there as the manager. What's his name?
Was it Dean Smith?
Yeah, I think going from Villa when they were in their sort of slump to a team that was in a slump as well, I think he should have either had a break and go into a championship team and come back up, or just sit it out. Just sit it out. I think he's sort of had a bit of a poison chalice. I can see why he wants to do it. I guess that he's sort of like I want this challenge and I reckon I can do something about it. But I think it's a lot of work, and they've got.
Yeah, it seems like it is a little bit doomed.
I just think they've had such a slow start to the season. They're already quite a distance off, and they'd have to go on a run. And I can't see them going on a long enough run to claw the points back because they'll have to go on a run, but the teams above them won't have to go on a run. They'll have to stop going on a run. So it's not just them that they've got to focus on, it's the teams above them.
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking something there. We were discussing Southampton as relegation candidates, and they're only 4 points behind us. It's a bit strange, that, isn't it?
Doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of teams which are quite close.
We've got.
It is quite compact in the table.
Oh yeah, it always is at this time of the season as well, where it's like really close. We'll move on to Brighton 0, Leeds 0, and although this was a 0-0, this was a very interesting game for me to watch for a
Lamptey
few for a few reasons. Pardon?
Lamptey watch.
Yeah, literally that him and Graham Potter as well. Obviously, we've got Ranić now, so it's very exciting times ahead. But you know that I like Graham Potter. But on the real note, I don't know how Brighton did not get anything out of this game. They had 20 shots to Leeds to Leeds 11 shots with only 4 on target. They should have had something out of this game. It's always the top of the expected goals table.
Well, that Mopé chance in the first half, that, I mean,
I don't know
you
how
expect somebody of his quality. Okay, he's not up there in the highest levels, but he's good enough to be scoring something like that. And yeah, I think he'll probably be looking back on that one and going, that's going to cause him some upset for the next coming days.
Yeah, for sure. With Leeds, are they relegation candidates? They don't seem to be able to pick up any win at all.
I think they've gotten themselves in a position now where they are falling into that category because they can't seem to pick up a win. I mean, you think of Bielsa, the way he sets his team up. Everybody was bigging up the tactician, the attacking football, the free flowing, everything about the qualities of Bielsa. And now I'm sort of looking and going, yeah, but when the chips are down, sometimes you have to make changes. That's part of evolving as a manager. You make the changes to better yourself. And
I agree.
He's set in his ways, and I get that. He's made his name that way, but they need to find form. They need to find winning games or getting points, and the only way they're going to do that is by adapting to the league. And I worry that teams like that, with somebody who's set in their ways, they are going to struggle. We struggled with. Ollie was very set in his ways in the sense of how he set 4-2-3-1. If he made subs like for like, there was never. I think PSG match was one of the only matches where he started with one formation and changed it halfway through. But when you've got a manager who, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it, they need to make sure they're doing it right. Like Pep, for instance, he knows how he wants his to play. You're going to play that way. Let everybody else worry about us. Well, that's fine if you're winning. But if you're not, and you're struggling and you're where you are, you've got to adapt it. You've got to try and find another way.
I agree. There was I remember there was a lot of talk at the start of last season how Leeds were playing, and Gary Neville kept saying they're like the most entertaining team in the league to watch. And they played a very they played a very sort of strange way of playing where it was just all out attack. And then halfway through the season, Bielsa knew he had to change it because it weren't completely working. So there was a situation where they sort of went more defensive, and it was a bit confusing because it was all out attack but more defensive. And that's sorry, someone's just come in the chat here. I don't know whether it's your friend Shannon. Someone said, Shannon, it's Lacey, answer your phone. So someone's on the chat there. I don't know whether it's your friend or not. So
yeah.
Sorry, I went a bit off track there. Let me just turn this heater off. I'm just turning the heater off. Give me a second.
You're right about that. Last season, the first time we played Leeds, literally blew them apart. Second time we played them, 0-0, wasn't it? I think it was 0-0.
Yeah, 0-0, and it was very defensive from both teams.
Pep did exactly the same. That one season, split them on counter-attack, and then when he came to Old Trafford, it was one of the most boring Manchester derbies I've ever watched. It was neither team wanted to attack. So Bielsa has got it in him to do that kind of thing, to frustrate, to change, to adapt, but he just doesn't do it enough. He's just very set in his ways. And it could be
like you say, they've got to change up.
Yeah.
We'll go on to Norwich Wolves though, 0-0. Like Wolves have started very well under this new manager, Bruno Lage. But with Norwich, I was reading something from a Norwich fan page. It just came on my Twitter timeline, and it was about Brandon Williams. Sort of, he was like man of the match, basically. I'm not sure if he wasn't given man of the match. The Wolves goalkeeper was, but he was like Norwich's player of the match in the sense of how well he played and the tenacity of Brandon Williams. We all know the tenacity of him. For me, he's still not going to be good enough for United, and that's sort of a sad thing to say. He's an academy product, and he did start well. Although I think Shaw and Tellez are maybe not on the greatest form, the pair of them, but they're very good in comparison to Brandon Williams. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he had that one season where he first came in for Luke Shaw when he was injured. And I can understand inverted wingers. I get that. They come in, they cut in. I get that. But I've never understood having inverted left back, right back, because once they get down to a crossing ability area, they can't cross. They have to decide onto their right foot and then cross. So if you've got somebody like Brandon Williams playing on the left, you know what he's going to do once he gets down that byline. You know that he's going to cut in because he's not left, right foot. He's right footed. So I wanted to see what he would be like with a stint at right back. I wanted to see if he could cut it as a right back instead of a left back. I don't think we saw enough of it at United, but he didn't really kick on from that one season at left back.
Yeah.
You can partly say that Ollie played a part in that because he was left out in the cold. I mean, he went back, he was playing for the youth team. And to be brought into the full team and play and then suddenly be relegated back down to the youth division and a senior player.
It's not a good situation.
He never really kicked on that first season at left back. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on at Norwich. I did think he was a bit of an odd one going to Norwich, but I didn't expect Norwich to be as bad as they are. I mean, I expected them to be not great. They are a bit of a yo-yo.
At the start, I was saying, are they even going to pick up a win? And they seem to be picking up a few points. It's not obviously, it's nothing special, but they seem to be picking up just a few points here and there. And if you can do that and it sort of racks up, and if they stay up, that'll be a good season for Brandon Williams, and he may be able to get to go to another club in the Premier League. And I am sort of rooting for Norwich because if Brandon Williams is there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he'd kill it in the Championship. I really do.
Yeah.
If he'd gone to Norwich last season when they were in the Championship and came up with them, I think we'd be seeing a different player. I think because of the start to the season that they've had, it's impacted on him as much as it has the rest of the team. They are lacking a lot of quality in the players that they've got, and I don't understand the appointment of Dean Smith in that sense. He doesn't strike me as a manager that gets you out of that sort of trouble. He did have a good run at Villa, but as soon as wheels fell off, he didn't really seem to have an out. He didn't seem to have an idea of what he could do to get them out of that rut that they were in. So
similar to Ollie.
Yeah. As for Wolves, I like the manager. I like the way he sets them up. I always found they were a difficult team to play against anyway, but very defensive, counter-attack. And they still are to a certain extent, but when you got players like Neves,
Coutinho, is it?
yeah,
Jimenez.
just injury, that's the one.
Yeah.
When you've got players like that, flair players, quality, I was surprised they didn't get much more out of the game, really. I was a little bit disappointed by them. I expected more.
Yeah. You would expect Wolves to beat them. I think I predicted 1-0. I do sort of I do a predictions table with my uncle and some of his friends where we've all put like £5 to £10 in each, and whoever is top of the table at the end, obviously come the end of the season with predictions, wins that amount of money. I'm currently top of the table. I went to like 5th for a few weeks, but I had a good weekend this weekend in predictions. So I predicted them to win 1-0. Obviously, a result that I didn't get right. And it will be a bit disappointing that for Wolves that they've been held to a 0-0 against Norwich. We'll move on now. So I'll just mention Spurs versus Burnley. Obviously, that was called off due to the snow. It just simply couldn't.
Snow in his shirt and trousers and all the other players.
Oh, yeah.
Got bomber jackets on. He's a proper northern lad, isn't he? I tell you.
Oh yeah, proper. We'll move on to. Sorry, I didn't catch what you said there.
Go on.
We'll move on to Brentford versus Everton. Now, I focused a lot on this game, and after the game, there was a lot of sort of talk around Everton. There has been for a few weeks around Rafa Benitez, and obviously some fans aren't happy that he's there in the first place, and some fans sort of went, let's just get behind him. A lot of fans want Rafa Benitez out now, and I can see why. He's persisting with a Wolby, which is similar to Ollie persisting with the McTominay and Fred, which even me, and you know me, I was like backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to the very end, and I was like, I've had enough. I can't watch this anymore. It's just so much. It just can't persist with this. But Ivan Toney, let me just say, what a player he is. I don't know if you agree. I'd take him at United. I'd definitely take him.
I prefer this penalty to Jorginho's. I think with Jorginho's, it's almost even with Bruno's, there's almost an element of cheating to it if you think about it. Because no chance. I mean, Pickford was a bit fluky in the World Cup. He dived the right way. In the Euros, but I like Tony. I don't think he's hitting the heights that he was hitting in the Championship last season. I think he's a bit of a slow burner, but you can see the quality he's got. He's top. I like him. Everton, they're a little bit of a repeat from last season. They had a very good window last season. Alan, James Rodriguez, they brought in top quality players, and everybody was saying top 4 European places at the least. And they started the season all right, and then they stagnated, and then they sort of just faded out. This season, Rafa Benitez comes in, new manager bounce, have a few games, stagnates, and here we are, and you're seeing it again, similar to last season, where you expect it to kick on, and then they just flatline. Now, Richarlison was out, Calvert-Lewin was out, but those were only 2 players. I know they've got Rondon up front. I mean, that's hilarious. I mean, that one. Bringing him out of Chinese retirement home and bringing him back to the Premier League, one last dance.
It's never going to work. Persisting with him.
You could sort of understand Rondon last dance.
Should make a documentary on the Rondon last dance.
Get the phone.
We'll go to the United game now. Now, what I've classed as what I called Ollie's Reds in the last few weeks was Ollie's no pressing Reds. Now, what I'm calling Carrick's Reds is Carrick's pragmatic Reds. It was like 8 defenders. Now, I'm not sure what you think about this, but I would say that was a very, very good point. It's disappointing that we didn't win the game, considering that we sort of we took the lead due to another Jadon Sancho goal, which is great to see him shining. But that was a very good point, and a point against the league leaders, which we may not have expected to get, really, despite me, I would always predict United to win, but we wouldn't have expected to get it. And considering how much of a mess it's all been, the whole team, no one's performed well recently. Maybe bar De Gea.
Well, I mean, if you take the game in midweek, the
Villarreal
league match,
yeah,
football is supposed to be a game of 2 halves. That was more like a game of 2/3 and a third. For 70 minutes, we were terrible, and then for 20 minutes, got the job done. On Sunday, I felt that it was a bit more 50-50. I felt that first half was about getting into half-time without conceding. And then in the second half, right, we need to try and push on and see if we can get a goal. Yeah, okay, it was a bit lucky with regards to Jorginho having bubble boots on. But, you take your chances, and fair play to Sancho. He did the right thing. The trickery to full Mendy, slotted it home. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Hopefully he can start kicking on now. If you remember in his last season at Dortmund, he didn't start that season too great. Once he started firing, he finished the season strongly. So hopefully he can do something similar. I think both teams could have won it. If you think about Fred's charitable donation to Mendy, where he's given the gift of giving and saying, "Oh, you gave the ball to me. Oh, that's really nice. Here, have it back."
Oh yeah.
Or you've got Rudiger seeing somebody in the stadium that he doesn't like and trying to shoot him. Both teams could have won it at the end. So for that to be the case, I actually take that as positive.
Yeah.
We didn't go there, sit back and just stay back and go on the break. We did that a bit, but there were transitions. You could see what the players were told to do and what they were asked to do, and the difference between the 2 halves. And that's 3 shots, 2 on target, 24 shots. Was it 9 on target? I lost count of the corners for Chelsea. So
Chelsea have 15 corners to our 2.
So to come away with a point, a draw, when nobody was giving United, even myself, a chance going into that. When you look at the form that we had with the Villa, Leicester put 4 away, Liverpool put 5, then City. We've got the likes of the European matches where we're scraping through, and everybody was expecting a bloodbath. Everybody, especially when we saw the team sheet, because it was like, where's Ronaldo for a start? I do understand it. I do get it.
Yeah, so do I.
It wasn't really because he was sort of trying that counter-attacking thing. You want 2 quick players up front. You don't want to have the likes of Ronaldo, who is pacey, but not pacey on the break to that Rashford level, if you know what I mean. I'm surprised he didn't start Martial because he's quite quick as well. I think our players probably need more coaching.
Yeah, completely.
Out of them. I think Bruno, I posted the image of average positions on Twitter, and Bruno's average position in that first half was centre back. He was literally behind the 2 centre backs, his average position. And
it's not great.
Yeah.
For me, I will sort of I know we've got Carrick in charge in 2 days against Arsenal, but for me, I'm sort of saying I'll persist with this until Ranić's in charge because it's obviously going to happen. It's been confirmed by the club now. So there's very exciting times ahead for United. However, Ranić will be looking at that game thinking there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. To get this team into a pressing state, into a state where it's high energy, high attacking football with no playing the ball back. It's going to be very sort of, it's going to be a very difficult job, and I do believe that he can do it. But again, I will take that point. A point away at Chelsea under any manager is a good point.
I
But
agree.
a point away at Chelsea when we're in an absolute state as a club, in turmoil, really, as a team, it's a very good point in my opinion. And I know a lot of people seen it as sort of a 2 points dropped, seeing as we took the lead. But again, we can't really trust our defense not to concede anymore. We concede basically every game.
I mean, we're not. I do think that. I mean, I got to give props to Bailly and Lindelof. They were brilliant in the match. Lindelof has had a lot of stick.
Yeah.
Bailly playing till he breaks. And the matches that Bailly has played just recently, yet again, when he plays, you can see why he's loved by the fans. I mean, he literally chucks himself into everything. That's probably why he ends up getting injured so much. But they actually had a really good game. For all of the attack that Chelsea had, there wasn't really many things that troubled De Gea. Hudson-Odoi in the first half, the low save after about 3 minutes, but most of it was dealt with by the
Yeah.
defence. So
Yeah.
I got props to Bailly and Lindelof.
Of course, yeah.
Did pretty well.
Of course. I'm not sure what starting 11 I'd go with against Arsenal. Maybe because Ranić is going to be there. He's going to be in the director's box as far as I've seen. Just not be able to work because of a work permit. So I'm not sure again what starting 11 I'd go with. I assume he will have some sort of influence on that starting 11.
I mean, obviously we're forced into certain players. I do think it'll be by Lindelof.
Yeah.
Maybe Maguire will come back in, or whether it's Maguire Lindelof or Maguire Bailly, I don't know. I
No.
do think if you're going to play Maguire, he needs somebody quick next to him.
Yeah.
To make up for the lack in pace. He's also coming back after a couple of games out, so
Yeah.
he needs to be fresh. So I wouldn't be too disappointed if it was by Lindelof again, even if it was just for the Arsenal match. But
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't think. And then we go on to the match game as it Crystal Palace. We've got on Sunday at home as well. We've got like 3 home games in 5 days or something like that. In the freezing cold where I'm gonna be loving it, but it's also gonna be freezing cold. I'll have to wrap up warm. We'll go to City versus West Ham. Now, I haven't actually managed to catch the highlights of this game, but you did, yeah. Yeah. I can see that Cancelo is man of the match, and
yeah, he's really
yeah,
picked on this season. I liked him. I thought he was a good signing when they got him. He's been a bit hit and miss, but everybody could see that there was that player in there, and he's really coming out and showing his quality now. The goal by Gundogan was a nice little flick from across into the box. There was a goal disallowed for offside with Mahrez. I think that was a free pass for West Ham. I don't think anybody was expecting them to come away with too much from that. So
no,
I don't think they can be judged by the loss.
not at all.
They were in the match. They were in the match. It wasn't just constant attack. I like what Moyes is doing with West Ham. I
Same.
think that he should have been doing that the first time he was there, and if he'd been given the time, he probably would have been. I think they got rid of him probably too soon the last time, but now you can see what he's building. You can see the style of play that they're getting. Again, really good players. I really like Ben Rama. I think he's top quality. Lingard, man, he should have joined. He really should have joined him.
I think if we can get more game time out of Lingard, he can do well here.
Yeah.
Still, if you'd have asked me 2 years ago, I would have said no. But if we can get more game time out of Lingard, and considering he's a high energy and he likes pressing, surely Ranić will try him out. Surely.
Oh yeah, everybody will get, like
Yeah.
a free play. Every single player that's at the club will be looked at.
Yeah.
Whether Lingard can adapt his game a bit like Donny in the sense that he's not tied to one position, because the beauty of somebody like Donny, yes, he could play number 10, but he can also play on the right. He can also play box to box. If Jesse can adapt his game a little bit, then I think he's got more chance. But if he wants to play that number 10 role, I think West Ham would have been for him. And I still think West Ham.
Oh yeah, sure.
He needs space to run into. He needs to be in a team where he can run at the defence
and turn and run, and there is space there, and we've seen it so many times when he was at West Ham last season. He did it so many times, and it worked so many times. And it was an amazing time to see him do well, considering he had like mental health issues and issues going on outside the pitch, and then he wasn't doing too well on the pitch as well. It was amazing to see him doing well, and I was a person who didn't really believe that he could do that well, and I know a lot of people stuck with him and sort of said he's still a good player. I was one that was of the opinion maybe he's just bang average, but he's absolutely not. I honestly believe he's not. We'll move on to Leicester 4, Watford 2, though. Leicester finally getting back on some form.
Did you see the? I think it was first goal. Icon.
No.
Fake. The ball came over the top of him, and he ducked.
Oh no! Oh, was that Johnny Evans that did that?
Maddison, yeah, Maddison.
Oh,
literally tucked. He ducked. He thought that he'd had a call from the keeper to leave it.
Yeah.
So rather than head it clear, he ducked. The ball bounced.
I think I did see that. No, yeah, I think I did see that. I had me and you were discussing. We were both going to watch Match of the Day. I had Match of the Day on last night, but I ended up falling asleep. I didn't put it on till really late because I couldn't get to sleep, and I couldn't. I just ended up falling. Sorry, what did you say?
Done my homework.
I need to do mine. I never did homework in school. Never do homework anymore.
I can believe that. I don't know why.
Typical, innit? Typical of me. But Jamie Vardy again.
Jamie Vardy, man.
Premier League legend at this point.
How is he not being talked about? Okay, maybe not to the levels of like the Ronaldos, the Neymar, the Ronaldos, the Lewandowskis, players of that ilk. But he's definitely up there.
Surely, yeah.
Because he's English, this guy, for the age that he is, to still be banging in the goals and some quality goals as well. I mean, the weather up there was shocking. That second half,
oh yeah,
you can hardly see.
It's basically across the whole country that the weather's at the moment. I've been telling you, it's the coldest winter of my life so far. It feels like I'm outside in this room now.
But Vardy, he was just brilliant. Yeah. You look at their team, they haven't got world beaters in their team, but the team that they've got work well together. I think it's always been a love story with Leicester because of the family that run the club. It filters down through the club, through the team, through the fans, through the staff. It's just a family, and I sort of envy it in a sense that I haven't got that in my club. That
Oh
there
yeah, of course.
is owners and club and players. There's a disconnect between some players and fans. You know, there's only a few which you could sort of point at, like the Rashfords and maybe Lingard, a couple of others, but 9 times out of 10, there is a disconnect.
Yeah.
You look at that Leicester side, even Brendan Rodgers, there's they play for the badge, they play for the team. Schmeichel in goal, absolutely brilliant. I'd always wondered, would he ever come back to United? Well, come to United in his career to, do what
He's a
his
City
dad.
fan, though, isn't he? I'm sure he's a City fan.
He went to City, didn't he? He was at
Yeah.
City. So, but yeah, his quality is good. It's good to see Johnny Evans doing well. I
Very
was
good. Yeah.
surprised United let him go when he went, but
I'd take him at United now.
yeah, it's a bit rash, the legs are going, but
Yeah.
still, he could still got a lot to bring to the game.
Yeah.
Watford, I expect more. I don't know why. I really expected Watford to compete. I expected them to have the bounce that Sheffield United had when they came up. I don't know why. Maybe with
They seem
Ranieri.
to be doing, I think, with Ranieri, I think they were on some, like, a little bit of a run, and then it sort of fell off when they lost. They lost against Arsenal or someone like that. Obviously, they just beat us like a few weeks ago now, 10 days ago, to be exact. But yeah, they're not doing too badly considering they're on 13 points in 16th place. They're not in the relegation spots.
The
Obviously,
thing,
they're close.
that's the poison chalice job as
Yeah,
well, because the you see how it is with the likes of Leicester. It's polar opposite with regards to Norwich. You've got the owners and the fans,
yeah,
the management team. They're they're literally, if you don't do this, you're gone. I mean, how many managers have they been through in the last few seasons
about
alone?
6 managers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And I like Ranieri. I do. I think he's got qualities that are good for the Premier League. I don't know whether he will have enough. I think he'll have enough to stay up, but I don't know whether it'll be enough in the board's eyes to keep him.
Oh no, yeah,
Because
I agree.
they, I think they expect more. I think they expect them to be top half of the table, and it's like, yeah, but you're not that team
No,
anymore. That team that had Deeney in it, who was literally fighting for the badge, and you could see it running through the team.
of course,
That team is not that team anymore. They have
no,
got quality players, but not. I think they needed a season. I think they needed this season to bed in, and then next season to kick on.
yeah,
If they
I
can
agree.
stay up this season, I see that as a good season.
I agree. Yeah,
Do that, I think they should stick with Ranieri.
yeah, I do agree with you there. And Ranieri obviously it was a freak season when he won when he won the league with Leicester. It was like a once in a lifetime thing, but still,
I
I
think
think he's a decent manager. A bit. If we win the league, that'll be a once in a lifetime thing.
for you, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just gonna ask you. There's 2 matches on tonight. Are you watching any of them, or
Yeah,
are you?
I've got Prime, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'll probably have them on one on tablet, one on TV.
Okay.
I'm not
So
sure which matches are on tonight.
Newcastle versus Norwich at 7:30, and then at 8:15, Leeds versus Crystal Palace.
That one might be tasty. That
Yeah.
first one,
No.
mm,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might put that on the tablet in the
Yeah.
corner.
I agree. Something
Make
that annoys me with Amazon Prime.
Yep, still no. Isn't it full time?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But something that annoys me with Amazon Prime is it's always behind. You
Yeah,
can tell that you're watching it on a stream, but like I'm watching it, and I could be 2 minutes behind like you, on your TV, and it's like, but we're watching it on Amazon. We're not watching it on like an illegal stream. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't really be like that.
You rely on the internet as well, and
Yeah,
I've got it's not great. It's not the highest speeds. I've got about 40, 50, and it still buffers, So you are in a position where you want to sort of interact with Twitter, but you're sort of like, are they going to see a goal, announce
yeah,
it?
exactly. I turn my notifications off when I'm on a stream. The masked football fan has said, who is better, Ranieri or Bielsa? I would have to say Bielsa, me.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ranieri, longevity, he's done it in quite a few different leagues. You think of the clubs that he's been at over the years. I mean, he's been at Chelsea, hasn't he?
Yeah. I think, was it interim or something?
Yeah. I will be honest, before Leeds came up last season, I didn't even know who Bielsa was. The most I knew about Bielsa was what they did on 4-4-2s, which I think is brilliant.
Oh yeah, I love 4-4-2s. Loved it for years.
Yeah, I think it's class. But yeah, I don't protest to know too much about Bielsa. And before last season, I like that he's set in his ways in the sense that he knows what he wants to do and does it. I just think he's a bit naive to be doing it in this league,
Yeah,
where apart from this season, every game is competitive. The beauty of the Premier League is the bottom team can beat the top team just as easily as the top beating the bottom.
yeah, I
You
agree.
go to somewhere like France, Spain, those top teams invariably win
Yeah,
against top teams because it's just the way it is. Same in Scotland. In
yeah.
our league, there is no easy game.
That's a very good point. I've made this point about United, and let me just say, for example, Liverpool beat Southampton 4-0 this weekend, and we as United would make hard work of that and make it not an easy game. And you're saying literally no game is an easy game for us. We've got to fight through every game. Let's hope that as a top team, we will become a top team again and not sort of have to fight through every single game and sort of have some comfortable wins, if that makes sense.
I think it's the teams that are coming to play against us. They know that there's a chance they might get something out of us. So there's no fear factor in when they play. It's basically like, we got a chance here. If we attack, if we go at certain players, we've got a chance. How is it that David De Gea is one of our best players, but he's shipped as many goals as he has? That tells you everything you really need to know. And I think Watford, there was an interview with Ben Foster, and he said, "No, we're going for it. We fancy getting something
Oh
out
yeah,
of
I've
it."
seen that. Yeah,
And sure enough, they did.
yeah. And every team goes for it against us. But I do want to say to you, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you both enjoyed it. You and Shannon, I hope you both enjoyed coming on.
Well, she'll be bragging to school now. She'll be way over the moon. So
That's great. That's great. But hopefully, I just want to let you guys know. Hopefully, I'm having 2 interviews with Fabrizio Romano now. I'm pretty much guaranteed to have one, as I've told you, Gavin. But I'm hoping to have 2. So I hope you guys gas it up as much as you did last time, and hype it up as much as you did last time. But I will keep mentioning this. Everyone's going to be sick of me mentioning this eventually. But again, I just want to thank you for coming on, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I've loved it, mate, and hopefully do it again sometime.
Yeah, of course.
Talk about the mental health thing in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've loved it. Thank you.
Of
Much
course.
appreciated.
Of course, no problem. I'll try and do a Q&A tomorrow, but there's a few variables as to whether I will do that or not. So I'm just going to end the stream there. Thank you for you guys tuning in. The chat was very active, so thank you for that. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good evening.
Folks.